Bama's barely breathing. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. The SEC is crazy. It's a mess. It's fun. It's chaotic. And it's going down to the final weekend of the season in regards to what teams will play in the SEC championship game. One team that will not play in this season's title game in Atlanta is the school with the most SEC championships, and that's Alabama. Losing inexplicably at Oklahoma, 24-3, the final score. Yes, 24-3. Oklahoma defeats Alabama incredibly. All right, who saw this coming? Bama, 2-touchdown favorite. Of course, Oklahoma has been able to mount zero offense for much of the season. Most people don't know this, but Oklahoma is one of the best defenses in the country, certainly one of the best in the conference, and yeah, that defense led to a victory. All right, let's get to it because Kalen DeBoer, this is going to be with him for quite some time, especially considering the guy that he replaced, who has not lost 3 games since going back to 2010. Bama now at 8-3, and they could do nothing in the first half. Oklahoma came out, and they gave up a field goal drive. But other than that, the Oklahoma offense, let's highlight the offense here because it was not explosive. It was not great, but it did what it needed to do. Jackson Arnold back at quarterback after being benched mid-season after a deplorable first half against Tennessee. He ran for 131 yards. Only had to throw the ball 11 times, completed 9. Not for a lot of yards, but protected the football. 0 turnovers out of Jackson Arnold in an offense that Oklahoma needed to run in this game against Alabama and rely on the defense. Just don't turn it over, grind it out, and give Oklahoma credit for being the dominant team up front to be able to move the ball on the ground with Arnold and with Xavier Robinson, who was not one of the top 3 running backs on this team to start the season. He ran for 107 tonight. Much talked about here and elsewhere. Certainly here at the Voice of College Football concerning Oklahoma being ravaged with injuries. First, the offensive line the first few weeks of the season. The rest of the season losing its top 5 wide receivers. But in the first half, 11 plays, 51 yards for a field goal drive. 12 plays, 67 yards. 2 long drives for Oklahoma to keep Jalen Milroe off the field. But when Jalen Milroe was on the field, he did nothing. Bama had nothing going. Oklahoma sold out on the Jalen Milroe run. They must have watched the LSU tapes because Jalen Milroe chewed up LSU, and that's all that happened. LSU stopped the Alabama running backs, and Jalen Milroe did not throw the ball downfield. He simply kept the ball out of like a wing T type formation and just ran the ball over and over and over for 4 touchdowns and 185 yards. So Brent Venables knows defense. He knows to pick up on what he has seen most recently, and he also has a history of defeating Alabama as a defensive mind, of course, at Clemson. Jalen Milroe and the Alabama offense had 92 yards at halftime. They had the 1 field goal. They had 1 decent drive for the field goal. Jalen Milroe didn't get to throw the ball much in the second half, even though he needed to throw the ball because, of course, Bama got down, but they just didn't have the ball. They kept going 3 and out. 11 of 26 for 164 and 3 picks. Here are the picks. So it's 10-3 at half. And then Eli Bowen, younger brother of Peyton Bowen, one of the best defenders around, made a tremendous read on a screen. I have never seen such a prompt read on a screenplay where Alabama had a 3-on-2 advantage on the right flank, and he went right past Kobe Prentice, who, this was deplorable. It was awful, pathetic. Kobe Prentice just didn't even want to block. Just lazy. And then once the ball was intercepted, which was a tremendous play because he jumped into the backfield. The screen pass was thrown at him. He had to reach behind him, did Bowen, and pick it off. And then Prentice just wanted to complain. He just wanted to look around like, this is somebody's fault. But no, go run after the guy and track him down. Be a football player. Awful. So he brings it all the way back, does Bowen to the 14-yard line. Xavier Robinson scores 17-3. Next Bama series, Kip Lewis slides over from his linebacking position. I don't know where this football was going because the only receiver on the right sideline was the tight end, Robbie Outs, who is not a pass catcher, does not figure into the offense. He was just standing out there, and there was another defensive player right in front of him. And we're not talking about a mobile guy that jumps up and is going to outfight somebody for the football, high point the football. We're talking about like a traditional tight end. And he's just like an outlet on the sideline. He's already covered. Kip Lewis steps into the passing lane. If he didn't intercept the ball, the other OU defender would have, but it was Kip Lewis who stepped in front, and he took it to the house for a pick six, 24-3. Forget it. Gone, done. That's the end of ball game. There was one ray of hope for Alabama. They hit Ryan Williams, the talented freshman, for a bomb. Scored a touchdown. Should have been 24-10. There was still, I did not mark the time down at this point, still plenty of time left in the ball game, like 11 or 12 minutes left in the game, and Bama could have gotten within 2 touchdowns. This was really odd. They called illegal formation, said that he was covered up as an end man on the line of scrimmage, and that was not the case. They showed the formation. Kirk Herbstreit and the officials analyst in the booth completely dumbfounded. Me as well. Anybody that knows football and knows formations and knows what the penalty would be, you have to be either in the backfield, meaning you have to be off the line, technically in the backfield. Even if you're a receiver, you're considered in the backfield if you're off the line. So you either need to be an eligible receiver in the backfield, or you have to be the end man on the line of scrimmage. Ryan Williams was eligible to catch that pass, and yes, he did. It was a remarkable play for the touchdown. Kalen DeBoer was going crazy, rightfully so. Alabama still dominated in this game by Oklahoma, and so one of the stranger upsets of the season takes place in Norman, Oklahoma. So last laugh for OU in entering the SEC. No, they didn't have a great year, and they still have to play LSU, but in beating Alabama, this was not expected. So I'm not going to go through the college football playoff ramifications for this, but to say that Indiana lost earlier in the day by 3 to 4 scores, and that looks to be a death knell for the Hoosiers. But then Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Bama all go down. Indiana is back in play. Probably it did better for them to lose and have the other 3 lose than just to win the game. I got to tell you, the SEC standings don't matter in the case of Alabama. They're out of that, and they are just hoping for the best. At 8-3, we could see 9-3 football teams in the college football playoff. We did not anticipate that. Some of us did. Actually, I picked a few teams to go 9-3 and make the playoff back in the summer. But man, this is a whole lot of fun, and it's going to come down to rivalry weekend. And keep it locked in here at the Voice of College Football, because we're going to run down all the conference scenarios and the CFP scenarios, and of course the rankings come out on Tuesday night, and the committee's going to have a whole lot of fun sorting out Indiana, Ole Miss, Bama, and Texas A&M all losing, in addition to the mayhem in the Big 12 and elsewhere. Keep it locked in here at the Voice of College Football. Remember, we've got a Bama show at 6 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday, and we've got all sorts of other SEC shows for your entertainment right here at the Voice of College Football.